In order to write a great and impactful lyric for musical theater, lyricists have to juggle a lot of various goals and tasks. A great lyric needs to move the plot forward or develop characters, all while being specific to the language and needs of the world, maintaining a proper scansion, adhering to a rhyme scheme, build and develop, and all while being entertaining. Easy, right? So, how do we accomplish this as musical theater lyricists? Let's break down the process so you can use it to make great lyrics for your musical theater projects. This video is being made because of a question I received as a comment on one of my YouTube videos from Noetic Paradigm 1576. And this does mean that yes, I actually read your comments. I'm the one who responds. I listen. So when you have questions, don't be afraid to let me know. You can do it on YouTube, via Instagram. I'm there as MT Writer Guy, or on TikTok, I'm there as Michael Ratty. Okay, let's begin with what I think is the most important thing about songwriting in general for musical theater, and especially for this specific topic, and that is talking about intention within the song. I want to talk about this in two ways. There's the zoomed in and the zoomed out. Zoomed in is going to be about the specific intentions of the character at that moment during the song on stage. Now, when I talk about the intentions of a character, I do mean that their intentions across the entirety of the song and how that relates to the other characters who are on stage with them, as well as whatever's happening inside the plot. What are they intending to make happen between the beginning of the song and the end of it? Sometimes an intention can be as simple as venting something that they're currently feeling. This is where you get a lot of those solo kinds of songs that seem like someone's just inside their head and we've kind of paused the plot. A pretty typical character intention you see for song moments is convincing someone or a group of people to do something. We call them convincing songs. It's appropriate. So first and foremost, a character must have an intention, or a group of characters must have an intention, and that's going to kind of drive the song forward. If there is no intention, I ask you, why are we even singing? But that being said, there is a second intention to keep in mind, and that is the zoomed out intention. That intention is the writer's intention. How many times can I say the word intention? Now, the writer has an intention of putting a song in this exact spot with these characters for a reason. There is something behind it for the audience, for the flow of the story, or for actually filling in the story itself. An easy example of a writer's intention is, hey, we have to establish this character, and a wonderful way to establish this particular character is in song form. That would be an intention. Another one that gets utilized a lot is, we just need a moment of rest, a moment of fun here, so I intend to write a song that provides the audience with an opportunity to lean back in their seats and just enjoy a moment of characters doing something. So as I said, you've got the zoomed in and the zoomed out, and these two are working in tandem to provide that basis, that foundation for the lyric that you're about to write. If you don't have both of these intentions, I say stop what you're doing, go back to the drawing board and figure out what your intentions are. I feel like a dad, interrogating a fiance? What are your intentions with my song? The next major thing we have to consider to write a great and impactful lyric is where we start and where we end, and what's different about these things. First and foremost, are they different? For the majority of songs, they are indeed going to be different, unless the purpose of the song is somehow wrapped up in stasis, in not changing between here and here. That is a thing that can be done in musical theater. You will see it everywhere when you begin to look for it, but generally speaking, the vast majority of songs are going to start in one place and end in another place. And then the first question is, when you know where you're starting and where you're ending, how are we going to get there? Who is leading us along this path from here to here? Are they the person singing the song? Are there multiple people who are leading us through? And what language is being utilized specifically? How specific is that language to the world? How specific is that language to the character? And then not every single song is gonna have a logical flow between here and here. Sometimes you have a character leading us who kind of meanders. Like, that's part of their personality, which is totally okay. I think about Karen from Mean Girls. She is not a particularly logical human, and yet there is a logic ultimately that leads us from here to here at the end. So when I say that you need to have a sense of the logic of the journey, that is still specific to the character and what their logic actually looks like. Okay, you knew this one was coming, but I'm gonna say it, gosh darn it. Scansion. Good scansion. Now, one of my very earliest videos on this channel was all about scansion, so I'm not gonna dive in too deep. You can go watch a younger Michael with a very different haircut go and talk to you all about scansion, making videos in the pandemic. But in essence, the idea of scanning a lyric is making sure that the emphasis and the intention of the words, the actual words on the music, are matching with the intentions and the emphasis of the music itself. Ideally, what we're trying to do here is create a sense of a lyric that scans, that is emphasized in a way that feels natural, the way that we actually speak. Musical theater is, at the end of the day, a words first, a story first kind of art form. Yes, the music's important, don't get me wrong, friends, but we are ultimately words first. Therefore, if the words aren't sitting naturally on the music, it catches our ear and kind of pulls us out of the story. And we don't want that. We want our audience to be enraptured. But the other major thing I want to say here is, again, with intention, that can often change the way that a lyric falls out. Because if someone is feeling something that would make their speech come out in a way that's not natural, you can actually utilize that in the lyric. A great example of this is the song Hey Number One from Next to Normal. They feel so awkward and it's such a stilted conversation, and you can feel that in the way that the words land on the music. It doesn't feel like natural, easy flow of conversation, because it isn't a natural flow of easy conversation. Now, of course, the other major lyric thing that we have to mention is that rhyme scheme. Again, one of my oldest videos is all about rhyme. It's pretty in-depth. You can go and watch that one if you want the real details. But essentially what we need to know here is, what kind of rhyme are you going to be using, and what is the schema of that rhyme? What is the structure of it? How is it fitting on each of the lines? And can you keep that up in every section that is similar? So if we're looking at a 32-bar chorus, A, B, A, your A sections are gonna have their own rhyme scheme. And then every time an A comes around, we wanna be matching the previous A's rhyme scheme, or else the audience begins to get confused. We don't want that. Of course, we need intention behind the rhyming. So we need to know why this character is rhyming, why they're rhyming in these places. Is it calling attention to certain words, certain topics? Is it mostly to delight the ear and just for fun? What is the character's intention for the rhymes, whether or not they are aware of it? And what are us as the writers, what are our intentions for having this character rhyme and rhyme in the way that they rhyme? It's a great tool because it gives you an opportunity to provide insight to the audience as to the internal state of the character or their mindset, or give some extra information about what kind of person this is who is singing this song. Now, there's one important thing I do have to mention here for you lyricists, is that with scansion and rhyme, it does kind of differ depending on if you're doing lyrics first or music first. When you're doing lyrics first, you have that blank slate. You have the opportunity to kind of craft it the way you want to, and then say, here, you composer, I'll write music to this. Don't do it in that voice, it may sound condescending. But the difference is, if you get handed music first and you're writing a lyric to music that's already set, then that melody is gonna tell you what the natural emphasis is. And that is kind of like your puzzle. It's your map to say, okay, if the melody's going ba-da, 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 then I need to make sure that the words fit like ba-da, ba-da, ba-da. Why did I choose iambic? That being said, whether it's lyrics first or music first doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, we do need to have good scansion, and we do need to have a rhyme scheme that has purpose to it and is consistent. Now, a piece that often gets forgotten here is entertainment. Don't forget, a good lyric, a great lyric, an impactful lyric still has to be entertaining. Now, I mean entertaining in several ways. I don't just mean it's gotta be laugh aloud funny. Yeah, sure, that's a type of entertainment. We like comedy, but there's other kinds of entertainment as well. Audiences are entertained when they feel drawn into a story, when they are engaged. So anything that's gonna pull us in and make us excited to continue forward, that is entertaining. Wit is entertaining. High drama is entertaining. Building in theatrical conflict, that's entertaining. Any and all these things count as entertainment, but if your audience is getting bored, no matter how tight your lyric is or you feel like it is, it's not actually doing the job of being great and impactful. Now, there are a million examples of good, impactful musical theater lyrics that I could go through in examples. I won't do that right here, right now, but I strongly suggest you go back and watch each of those points again to make sure that you understand what each of them are. Write them down, make a list, and then go and watch an example and look for all of those spaces to see if that lyric is doing all of that work and how. The how of it, that is the analysis, that's the study. This is how we learn from the masters of their craft. But honestly, I do want to say that one of the most confusing parts of this whole process, especially for new musical theater writers, is the idea of scansion. So if you want to learn more about scansion and how to do it well, or how to improve your own and do it while kind of hiding the work from the audience, then you should watch that old video that I was mentioning, and I'll put a link to that up over here. And I'll see you there, friends. Otherwise, thank you all for being here with me today, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers!